Okay, so let's suss this out now. My channel. Okay, let's test that this is okay. Alright, let's test this is okay. Okay, let's test that this is okay. Hey, looks alright. Now, where are we going to have our phone? We're going to do no chat overlay, we want chat only. Let's make sure that we've got a wide enough spectrum here. Is that going to be wide enough? Hang on. Let's have a look. Oh, plenty. Alright. So, chat only apply. Great. Hey, Bio High Grade, how are you, mate? Let's leave that there. Now, it's in a perfect world. We'll be live on YouTube as well, I think. Okay, YouTube. That's me. Let's have a look. We live? Oh, very live.
Look, we live?
Hey, I don't believe it. Bio High Grade, how are you, bud? Welcome to the stream, mate. Welcome to everyone that's tuned in. Thanks for giving up your time to watch the stream. Certainly are, Bio High Grade. Just trying a few different things out, but you know, want to just try and or basically present the option for people, you know. The hardest thing is obviously getting everything to work, you know, as you're well aware. Yeah, I was getting a bit worried for all the mods, mate, you know. I was having to ask them to send me photos of their wrists, mate, because of my brilliant interpretation of technology, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's all right. Oh, great, so that had to die, didn't it? No, I deleted the Discord, bud. So don't stress about that, mate. I've got a new Discord coming through. What we're doing, mate, is we're doing a complete revamp of the channel. I got a few unsightly messages on the Discord. So rather than put up with it, I just deleted it. And what I'm going to do is, when people come into the Discord now, they're going to have to fill out a little questionnaire. They're going to have to link either YouTube or Twitch, and if they don't do that, they won't be able to get in, if you know what I mean. So yeah. Oh, that's life, mate. That just reflects society by a high grade, you know. Thank you to everyone that's tuned in on Twitch as well. All right, now. So what we're doing tonight, famo, is basically where I'm fishing in the old days was a half decent spot, and I really didn't do much out here. One of the reasons why I've come down here is I just want to try and get some mulloway at night. Now there's been a fair bit of surface activity, and what we'll do is we're just going to use a bibbed, or bibless minnow, sorry, not bibbed. Okay, and then what we'll do is make some noise, and then we'll throw the soft plastics out. So yeah, just a nice steady night, mate. Nothing too dramatic, if you know what I mean. And yeah, just see where the night takes us, you know. So what I'm going to do is, I don't know whether you can see this, but I'm just holding my fishing rod at about 45 degrees, out from the waist. All I want to do is I just want to grub this bibless minnow along the bottom, right? And I just want to make some noise. I don't think we're going to see any action for probably about an hour and a half, right? And I'm just going to come in here now. Welcome to everyone on Twitch, welcome to everyone on YouTube. Thank you very much for tuning in. As the title suggests, when the moon's smiling, the fish are biting. That's an old saying from years ago. So when we get a few more people in here, I'll explain that. But there's a lot of merit to it actually, because with your moon phases, your moon has certain shapes at certain stages of the moon. And believe it or not, some stages are a lot better than others for fishing. We have a lot of other sayings too, you know, like in the old days we said it differently though, but when the grass trees are flowering, the groper are biting, which usually happens in spring. And yeah, little things like that before we had technology, you know what I mean? So yeah. Thank you to the 20 odd viewers in Twitch, welcome. And thank you to everyone that's tuned in at YouTube as well. So I'm just winding this really slowly along the bottom. Right, now I don't think there's any snags in here. So if we do hit... Now what was that? I thought I heard something get taken off the surface behind this lure famo. So the water's going to have to come up about another 6 feet before we start getting fish, I think. Now I don't know whether you can hear that little splashing on the surface, but that's little bony herring and other fish just getting driven to the surface and getting smashed. The area that we're fishing has a lot of river whalers caught here as well. So, oh, it's nice to use balance gear, you know what I mean? So, yeah. High grade, what have you been up to, bud? You been keeping well or what? Now this isn't moving, so I think what's happened is I've tangled the lure around the leader. No, that's unhooked it, that's good. The other thing is too, if we do hook a fish here, it's going to be not as difficult as normal to try and land it as well. Let me just make sure I haven't got the camera. Beautiful. Hey Cheeseburger, how are you, bud? Good morning from Western Australia. Bought a new rod. Yeah, see, that's the thing, bud. With warranties and that sort of stuff, you've got to remember there's usually very little that can go wrong with fishing rods. And look, the best thing to do, right, is one of my best fishing rods, which is the old one that I've got with the green rope wraps. That started off as a 6'6" rod. Now it's about a 5'7" because I snapped the tip twice. So what you do is, where you've got a guide on your fishing rod, just cut the fishing rod back to there and put a tip on it, mate, and just use it as a slightly heavier action rod. So yeah, there's very little that can go wrong with fishing rods, mate. And if a fishing rod goes wrong, it doesn't usually snap, it creases. So I had that happen in a fly rod years ago. I hooked into a fish on the Warren River, and when I set the hook, the top half of the rod like disconnected to my grip, and what happened was, where they had the crease for the graphite sheets, it was right in front of the grip. So the flex just like killed it, you know. should really grab that line before it lands, you know what I mean? Hey Chris Brown, how are you, bud? Welcome to the stream. Mystic Mayhem, welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, congratulations, mate. What type of rod is it? Oh, really, Cheeseburger? How does that work, bud? How does insurance work on fishing rods? That's interesting. That's pretty innovative. So buy a high grade. All that happens is, mate, if you've caught the tip and you push the rod into the car, or the tackle box rolls on it and it bends outside its natural action, you know, that's what'll cause it. And you've got to remember, a lot of the fishing rod companies that have these unconditional lifetime guarantees, like G Loomis, as I had it explained to me when I sold G Loomis, 1/3 of the price of the G Loomis fishing rods goes to warranty. So you're virtually paying for it when you buy the fishing rod. So, you know, you buy a $900 G Loomis, they allow $300 of that for, you know, warranties in the future. Because G Loomis is longitudinal graphite. So Gary Loomis perfected and invented the longitudinal graphite. So you got one length of graphite from the tip to the butt of the rod. The slightest nick across those longitudinal fibres and it just snaps, mate. That's why if you're going to buy a G Loomis or anything like that, make sure the guides are underbound and overbound, because if you put the rod guide straight onto the rod, that usually snaps them. And I sold G Loomis to someone in the 90s. The rod snapped, and then even though it had an unconditional lifetime warranty, when we sent it over east, they replaced the blank for free, but they charged the person to bind it back together again. They were livid, as we were, you know, because that's not what we thought an unconditional lifetime guarantee was. My word, you know. But yeah, little things like that that you don't really pick up on unless you're working in the industry, if you know what I mean. Now, there's a lot of surface activity in this spot, which is a really good sign. So I don't know what's going to happen with that, but let's have one more cast, and I might shift chat over. A power, yeah, it's. But I'm aware of that. But what is it? 7 foot, 6 foot, 2-piece, 3-piece. Oh, really, Cheeseburger? Well, that's pretty good, mate. That's a lot better than an unconditional lifetime guarantee. Now, the thing is, with that, let me ask you this question. If that's the case, does the price of these rods with the unconditional lifetime guarantees come down because Bass Pro Shop is doing their own insurance? Because that would be a benefit for consumers, if you know what I mean. So, lots and lots of little bait fish around here, fam. I think what we're going to do is, I've got a bit of a light shining over the water, which isn't really going to be too much of a detriment because my shadow's going into these trees over here, right? And then what we'll do is we'll just get a 3/16 ounce jig head with a 3-inch grub tail, and then work from there. All right, now that's interesting, people. I just had a fish that flashed behind the lure then. I don't know whether you saw it, but there was a little bit of a silver like swirl in here. So it was either a mulloway or a tailor, or bluefish as you call it in America, and elf and shad in South Africa, right? Beautiful. So that's interesting. So they're chasing him into the shore. Just give me a second, I'll catch up with Chat in a minute. I might bring Chat down here, I think. Now, set the drag. I'm lucky that I've got the drag set. And people, when you're using lures with rattles in them and that sort of stuff in rivers, even if you're using freshwater spinners or whatever, retrieve them as slowly as you can, right, just to get them moving. Now see how that rod tip is pulsing, right? I'm retrieving this lure as slow as I can. I can retrieve it fast, but see what that does there? Right, see how the rod tip's like working away? I just want this to imitate a fish just grubbing along the bottom, looking for whatever it's looking for with its food source. Right, and away we go. Okay, Andrew Parry, how are you, bud? Welcome to the stream, mate. So it's a 2-piece Silstar power tip, 662 SPL, 3 to 9 kilo. Oh, nice one. Well, that's fantastic, mate. And look, that's what they should do. You know, these consumer groups should be trying to look after consumers like that, people. Because, I mean, the margin's there in the tackle stores. And, you know, if you're prepared... Actually, Cheeseburger, here's a question. If you spent $50 on insurance, what's the rod worth, bud? That wouldn't be a cheap policy either, but anyway. It's just so nice to go out and have a fish, fam. Now, I haven't been doing any beach fishing because I've got a bad case of chondrochondritis. So basically the lining between my ribs and my muscles and that, and my body and that, I've done something to the lining. So when I twist or flex, it's just so much pain. But hopefully it gets to go away. If not, I'll have to go to the doctor again. Rightio. Excellent, one more. We're casting probably about 2/3 of the way across the river there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to show you another little technique that works really well on freshwater fish. Right? Come on, start working. There we are, that's better. So with your lure fishing, people, like I said, especially in rivers, just try and fish it as slow as you can. Right? If you think you're going slow, try and do it a bit slower. So see this here, I don't know whether you can see this, but my rod tip is just bouncing along. So all that means is the nose of this bibless minnow is burying itself in the sand. Then as the rod tip flexes and goes back to its original position, it throws the bottom of the mouth of the lure up and then down again, which causes the tail to wiggle and that. Now something brushed along the line there, which is interesting. So let's just see what that is. Now, let me show you a technique that works really well in freshwater. Watch. It's quite difficult and very scientific. Right, I'm just going to put my rod down and wait about 2 or 3 minutes and see what goes up and has a look at it. The amount of times in freshwater fishing I've had fish hit the lure on the bottom is ridiculous. I don't even know why it works, fam. There we go. Leave the bar arm open. Do not close it over, okay? Yeah, nice one. We're fishing on a river, Andrew. Yeah, we don't give out location on streams, mate. That's a no-no. No, that's right, Cheeseburger. Oh, $20 for insurance. Thriller, how are you, bud? Welcome to the stream, mate. Ah, yeah, why not? You can tell the tide's coming in because the line's going from right to left. If it was going out, it'd be going from left to right. Right, I'm just going to take a sip of my traditional iced coffee. Right. Western Australia, Andrew. Oh, you only need to break one, mate. See, this is the thing, people, you know. If you ever find a fishing lure that you like, that works for your area, buy a few of them and put a few aside, because you don't know what's going to happen with the manufacturing. I'll give you an example of that. Years ago, there was a lure made in France called the Floppy, F-L-O-P-Y. But when they made them out of a rubber body, so the lure was hollow. And when it used to land in the water, it used to make the sound of a live creature with a hollow chamber and like a certain type of pop. trout and redfin perch absolutely love them. A lot of people say they were designed to imitate frogs and that sort of stuff. So what happened was they went from the traditional, soft-bodied ones to the hard-bodied ones, and they didn't have the same fish catching sort of ratio. And then they stopped making them because the plates wore out on the machines and the market wasn't big enough for the lures. And yeah, they were a fantastic lure. And hindsight's a good thing, if you had known they were going to be that good, right? I would have bought a lot more. I bought one for $50 off eBay 7 years ago. I've been offered $200 for it and I'm still keeping it. I think in 2030, the lure that I bought is going to be 70 years old, or 60. I think it's definitely over 50 anyway. Beautiful. Let's sit down here again. We'll just chuck this in here, eh? Why not? D-Sus, how are you, bud? Welcome to the stream, mate. Yeah, Andrew, which state are you in, bud? State's okay, mate. Oh, yeah, that's right, by a high grade. I bought a Hardy or House of Hardy fly reel and fly rod. And now see that? That's the line, the lure's moving. It would be nice if that was a fish, but I've got a funny feeling it's just the current. So let's just leave it. It's the same old story with your fishing, people, whether you're using bait or lure, soft plastic, freshwater fly, saltwater fly, whatever, right? The more natural you can present your lure, the more chance you have of catching a fish, okay? So even baits and that sort of stuff, when I'm being serious with my beach fishing, I'll cast out dead weight baits with the smallest amount of lead on them so they just drift into the current naturally. Ah, that's good. Sort the tummy out. Oh, hey Andrew, nice one. Oh, Mystic Mayhem, can I ask you a question about that, and don't get offended with me? What sort of water are you fishing? Is it fresh, estuary, or is it saltwater? Now that's interesting. I think the lure was staying put, but the line was going with it. I've hooked a couple of fish in this spot years ago and just freight trains did not stand a chance. I think one of them still got the lure in its mouth and it's swimming to Tasmania. Now we're going to have to wait for a little bit more water before we can use the soft plastic anyway. All right. Hey, thanks, D-Sus. D-Sus, let me give you a bit of friendly advice with that, bud. The only person's burdens you can bear are your own, bud. Don't worry about anyone else's, mate. As long as, and this is not being selfish, this is the way of the world nowadays, bud. As long as you and your family are okay, and the people that are close to you, don't worry about anyone else, mate. Let them sort it out. Okay, you just worry about yourself, mate, okay? And that's not being selfish. That's how you have to be nowadays, bud. Okay, and I learnt that the hard way, mate. Oh dear. Boy, did I learn that the hard way. Yeah, so the only burdens that you bear are your own, D-Sus. Don't worry about anything else, right? Because nowadays there's so much misinformation out there, mate. And unfortunately the younger crew don't have the necessary experience or means to decipher what is real and what isn't, So Now, Mystic Mayhem, so last week was freshwater, this week was saltwater, fair enough. Now, oh sorry, yeah. So this week, did you fish beach, rock, jetty, rock wall? What did you fish? Lovely. Yeah, don't worry about that, Mystic Mayhem. If you don't have the right rig, it doesn't matter what you use, you won't catch fish. It was jetty. That depends on what you're fishing for by a high grade, you know. What I'll do, mate, just hang on a second and I'll just speak with Mystic Mayhem first, and then maybe that might help you out as well. So, Mystic Mayhem, you were fishing on a jetty. Now, this is a very simple question, right? Did you have the sinker between you and the bait, or did you have the sinker at the end with the bait between you and the sinker? Okay? Rightio famo, we will go out to the soft plastic in a second. All I'm doing here with this Bibulus minnow that's got the rattle in it, I'm just going, we're here! You know what I mean? That night that we got smashed by that other mulloway up around here when I had that 6-inch bomber lure on, and then, oh, mate, I'm still losing sleep over that. I remember them, people. Oh. Now, that was interesting. Now, did you hear that? I don't know whether you can hear all the splashes on the surface, people, but once they start increasing, you know that there'll be bigger fish around. Let's see. Oh, that's right, D-Sus, and unfortunately, bud, in this era of my opinion is more important than your opinion, right? You've always got to be wary of people that say they know best for everyone else, mate. Okay? You've always got to be wary of that, bud. Right? Because they don't. And half the time... Now, did you hear that, Famo? That was something that got belted on the surface there. We might be in tonight. It's like the government, mate. They always say that they know best. They don't. All they're doing is looking for votes. Okay? Beg your pardon? Nah, not yet, mate. So I don't know whether I'll get anything tonight, so... Right. Alrighty, between it. Beg your pardon? Not really, mate. I just do a bit of live streaming now and then, bud.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah. Do you do a bit of fishing yourself?
I love fishing there. Yep.
Oh, excellent. That's the way, mate.
Mostly up north though.
Oh yeah, it's a bit different down here, isn't it?
Yeah, it sure is.
Where do you fish up north?
Yeah, we go out of Headland and Exmouth.
Oh yeah, a bit sport up there, mate. You'll be disappointed down here, brother. Beg your pardon? Yeah, it's just relative to the area. The southern oceans that are colder don't usually have as large a fish species as up north. So when you've got the Lewin Current going down the coast and all that sort of stuff down, mate, you've got a lot of the larger predatory fish that follow it. So, you know, in the summer, when it sort of heads further down south, you know, they've caught mackerel out deep here a few times as well, but not to any great size, if you know what I mean. Beg your pardon? Yeah, that's because of the mangroves up the top there. We've got the southernmost mangroves in like Australia, but you've got to be really lucky to get them, you know. Yeah, the only problem is, mate, with that sort of thing, you know, I mean, if you sort of tell everyone, they sort of come in and just try and scalp it.
Yep.
It's a little bit like the inlet up here when the crab season starts.
Yeah.
day before the crab season, it's fine. Midnight when the crab season starts, they're all out there and they're just taking everything, not caring about sizes. And the amount of licence plates you've got here from Perth and that sort of stuff, but it doesn't do anyone any favours, you know.
That's right.
You know, and they don't think for tomorrow because, you know.
Drill from drill.
Oh yeah, that's how they are, mate. That's why we have so many issues with fish numbers, you know.
Have you heard of Pond Zero?
Beg your pardon?
Have you heard of Pond Zero?
No, I haven't.
All right. Look up Pond Zero if you get a chance. It's just north of Headland.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I haven't been to Headland yet. The furthest I've been, Headland's above Karratha, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, the furthest north I've gone is Karratha.
Okay.
Yeah, so we stayed in Karratha when I had the boat, and we went and fished and launched out of Hamilton Harbour at Denham.
Yep.
And yeah, that was really good. You know, we got I got some good Rankin cod trolling CD18s.
Yeah, right.
And CD14s, and normally you don't catch them when you're trolling them, but we got one that was 15 kilo and one that was 16 kilo.
Wow, not bad.
Yeah, but yeah, we let them go again and all that sort of stuff. So you know, yeah. I mean, the really big ones, I think they should have like a minimum size for breeding. It's like snapper out here.
Yep.
The minimum size they breed at is 58 centimetres, but the minimum legal size is 50.
Yeah, okay.
So why not just make it 60 centimetres to 90 centimetres? You keep that window,
Yep.
then you got the breeding stock protected and you got the juvenile stock protected then.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, but the thing is with that, snapper around the 95 to metre mark don't taste the best anyway, you know?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so that's the other thing as well, which they don't seem to think of, if you know what I mean. So yeah, this river, we had a really good winter. So we should have a, you know, pretty good season with it. But last year was terrible because of the summer. We had no rain and it got a bit stagnant in the upper reaches.
Yeah, right.
So prior to that, in 3 years, like live on the stream, which is, you know, what we do, we got about 70 mulloway caught and released.
All right.
But last year I got one.
Wow.
And then that was because even the inlet was getting stagnant up the end.
Yep.
So they run cattle up the end as well that sometimes go in the water.
Yeah.
And then once you've got all the waste and that sort of stuff.
And they've got a drain that runs down the paddock.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah.
And so any of the nutrients that are trapped in the topsoil of the paddock end up in the inlet anyway.
Yep.
So what happened is when it receded and then you had those like long, hot summer days that were taking the oxygen out of the water,
Yep.
it just started a little bit of a bloom, but fortunately we got rain before it got too bad.
Yeah, right.
And unfortunately here there's a massive fish kill every year in the winter.
Yep.
So I think 2 years ago I came down here and everywhere you looked there was just dead fish floating upside down.
Yep.
And they'll never sort of make sort of tourism and recreation more value than farming, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's just the cross we got to bear, mate, you know.
Yep.
So you down here on holidays or?
No, I live down here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've lived on this river for 30-something years.
Yeah, I'm from Manjimup originally. We used to come up here all the time. I remember when they used to catch 50-pound mulloway off the bend up here, you know.
Yeah.
But now there's none left, mate, so.
Get sharp.
Yeah, the other thing is too, back in the 70s and that sort of stuff, when we used to go to Augusta and all the professional fishers used to come in, they used to have piles of mulloway up to 100 pound.
Yeah, right.
And I think what they did is they just ripped all the biomass out of the water. And even down there where you've got all the rocky areas and that sort of stuff, where they used to have the big buff brim, you know, that were like 10, 12 kilos, they netted them as well out. And so now what you've got is you've got all these big grass like patches out there as well. But in the old days, the buff brim used to keep them down.
Yep.
So yeah, and I mean mulloway are really susceptible to overfishing,
Yeah, okay.
you know. So you know when you do figure it out and they are on the bite, mate, sometimes it's a fisher cast. We've had some streams that we've caught, I don't know, 6 or 7 mulloway in one stream. We've let them all go and that sort of stuff, but you know, for every one that you let go, there's 10 that kept. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, but
Down here, I like to go out to the old jetty there and pull in stingray.
yeah, I mean, stingrays are important, mate, because they keep all the organic matter off the bottom of the inlet in the ocean. But
They're fun to catch on the lead.
yeah, I guess so. But I mean, I try and avoid catching them, mate. I prefer to leave them alone. But each to their own, you know.
Yeah.
You know, that's, you know, if that's your thing, isn't it? But the ones that get me is when people pick them up by the eyes you know, and then they pick them up by the eyes and they leave them on the beach to die, and it's like, oh, it's only an effing stingray. It's like, hang on a minute, mate, put it back.
Yeah.
You know, but anyway, that's how it goes. So, I beg your pardon? Yeah, and when they find your bait, what they'll do is they'll hover over the top of it, and when they hover over the top of it and that sort of stuff, they'll form like a suction, and then they take it in and all the rest of it, and you know, away they go from there, if you know what I mean. So yeah, you know, it's just, yeah, I mean, a lot of people watch the YouTube with a lot of the American anglers, and they'll catch their Goliath gropers and all their sharks, and then they want to come into the Collie River and catch the bull sharks and that sort of stuff, and you know, bait it with offal and that. So the biggest problem with that is because of the influence of the social media. You look at the Bustleton Jetty, they had a heap of people that were swimming near the jetty, and there were people throwing like liver and offal and blood into the water to get sharks. And now what's going to happen is they're just going to put a ban on shark fishing for everyone, mate. You know, and that's just the way it's going, mate, you know. Yeah, I wouldn't now.
And to look back and go, fuck, so why are you getting the water down here now?
Oh, mate, I up at the junction up here, in one stream we had like 6 sharks swim by. You know, and when they, from that big to like that big, and when they swim by, they always turn on their side and look at you with that one eye, you know. And you just think, yeah, I'm not putting my foot in the water. But they do all the triathlons for the schools in here as well.
That's right,
And I don't know why they do that. And you know, with insurance, if you have an overcast day, they actually have clauses in their insurance policies because apparently overcast days bring sharks in close to the shore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I worked at a school and they were explaining that to us. So yeah, I mean, you know, they have these triathlons sort of at the tail end of winter and all that sort of stuff, and you think, why are they doing it, you know? But anyway, that's how they go. Yeah, okay. So how often do you get up to Headland, Cobb?
I lived up there for 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went out with a lot of the locals.
Yeah, mate.
All the local spots.
Yeah, well, that's good, mate. You got all the like the northern jewfish or the northern mulloway as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pull a lot harder than the ones down here.
Yep.
I got smoked by one at Karratha. I wasn't live on stream, and I reckon those ones that big fight like the ones down here that are this big, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's just how it goes, you know.
Yeah, that would have been probably a good meter.
Yeah, lovely.
And I caught it on the rod your side.
Yeah, the biggest one that I've got last season, the one fish that I got was about 65.
Right.
And I just used 20-pound braid and 15-pound leader. And I caught that about 6 foot from the shore. They're not really in the deeper parts. They like to hang out on the edge, you know.
No, it's only like a flick off the beach with a
Oh, lovely. Yeah, okay.
right place at the right time.
Yeah, that's it, mate. Most of your big mulloway are just behind the first set of breakers on the beach.
Right.
They'll just cruise in behind. I've seen a guy at Warren Beach when I was a kid with a little flick rod. He's like cast it in the air and miscast it, and it probably landed where you are. And then a fish has hit it and taken off with it, and the mulloway was nearly bigger than the rod, but there were plenty more around in those days, you know. Yeah, so that's how that goes. Right, okay. Well, I might start pumping out the soft plastics. Yeah, I don't fish with baits, I just fish with soft plastics and lures. Just make it nice and difficult, you know, you can never have it too easy. Yeah, all right, mate. Well, look, without being rude, I'm doing a live stream at the moment.
Okay, I'll leave you to it, mate.
Yeah, no worries. No, what's your name anyway?
My name's Garrett.
Garrett?
Garrett, yeah.
Pleased to meet you, Garrett. I'm sure I'll bump into you on the river, mate.
Yeah, no worries, what you
Jim.
Jim.
Yeah, pleased to meet you, Garrett. Come here, I'll shake your hand. Hang on. Oh.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, relax, mate. There's no claim to fame being a live streamer, mate. Just a normal person that turns the camera on, Garrett.
Yep.
That's it, mate. Nothing
awesome.
special about it at all, mate.
Nah.
So,
Pretty cool, right?
all right, mate, have a lovely evening. Yeah, be careful of the snakes out here at night, mate.
Yes, I know.
Yes. Especially over near the river out there too, you know.
Yeah. I'll just try and make a lot of noise.
Yeah, that's the way, mate. All right, Garrett, nice meeting you. All the best, mate. Okay. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to go to a soft plastic. Now, Mystic Mayhem you were saying that the bait is between you and the sinker. Okay, so what depth were you fishing? Oh, that's what I asked. What depth were you fishing? All right, now we're at the business end, Famo. Now we're going to get the soft plastics out and see how we go. I've got a couple of soft plastics I'm going to try. One of them is the Berkeley Gulp Nemesis, but the Nemesis is a bit like fishing a bait because they've got all the scent and the oil and that sort of stuff. Right, so something across the river just got absolutely smashed on the surface. Now, I don't know whether that's the dolphin coming into the river or what it was, but I just heard it over there, fam. I don't know whether you heard it as well through the microphone. Well, Mystic Mayhem, with all due respect, mate, never ever fish a low tide, bud. Fish a high tide. Fishing a low tide, especially on jetties, is a waste of time, mate. And what you've got to do is you've got to fish the turn of tide. You never catch anything on a low tide. You might get an incidental catch. If you're out in a boat and that sort of stuff, it's not too bad. But when you're fishing rivers and all that sort of stuff, mate, high tide is the only way to go. So, you know, that's what that comes down to. And look, with your jetty fishing, Mystic Mayhem, most of your fish are at your feet, right? A lot of people will make the mistake when they fish in a jetty, they'll fish with their rod like this. Don't do that. Point your rod at the water, right? And when you feel a bite, so when you point your rod at the water, have your finger on the line so you feel those really fine bites. What you do is you point your rod at the water, and when the fish hits, you go bang and you set your hook. Don't lift it all the way up here. That's the social media strike, as I call it. Don't do that, right? Especially if you're using braid, Mystic Mayhem. When I fish the Busselton jetty, which we've been doing live on stream since 2018, I'll always point the rod at water like this, and then when the fish hits, I go bang, and straight away you've set the hook. And then what you do is you keep your rod at horizontal, which is not above your waist, and you let the fish do all the work, okay? All right, so that's how that works, mate, because, you know, a lot of people, I mean, even on these, like I'm watching a few YouTube channels, like they go to set the hook in the fish and they reef the rod up and down like 7 or 8 times, and it's like, really, guys? Really? You know what I mean? Like, maybe we should put Pond Zero on the, maybe we should put Pond Zero. Someone's got the Milo tin fired up on the old chook chaser. You know? Thanks to everyone that's tuned in on both channels. I don't know whether we're going to catch anything tonight, but we're going to try, because that's what we do. So what I'm going to do now, right, is I'm going to change the colour of the soft plastic, and we're going to put on a different soft plastic, fam. And what I might do, because this is shallower water, and it's not quite deep enough to get any interest from the fish, right? What we'll do is, oh, now that was a hit, right? That wasn't, yeah, that was a hit, believe it or not, right? So what we'll do is we'll just try slightly a heavy jig head, and what we'll do is when we bounce it along the bottom, we'll just go to here rather than a bit higher up, right? Because it is quite shallow. Now let me have a look. A couple of teeth marks in there. Oh dear, there we go. So, the old LED lights are good, aren't they? Ideally what I'd like to do is cast it right out in there, but I don't think we're going to have that luxury. Hey, thanks to the 15 viewers on YouTube. Thank you very, very much for coming in. All right, so the soft plastic that we've got here, I'll just show you through the light. Oh, maybe it'll come up. Okay, so with that, Famo, that's got the green on top and the silver on the bottom, which looks much like a juvenile tailor, right? Mystic Mayhem, I have no idea, bud. You're the only person that will know. What you should do, Mystic Mayhem, is if you've got water flowing this way, right, you use enough weight on your sinker to get your sinker to the bottom and to stay in the spot that it landed on, because what will happen is your baits will swing downstream and your fish will come upstream and hit them. Don't ever go like downstream of where you're fishing, because what will happen is your bait will drift, if you know what I mean, and away from you. And if you're not using a heavy enough sinker, what it'll do is it'll just lift in the current and you won't be able to feel any bites. So I mean, yeah, and the easiest way to determine how deep a waterway is, right, is when you drop your bait over the edge. Don't worry about casting, just drop it out just in front of you. While the line's moving off the reel, count how long it takes for the line to stop, because if the line doesn't stop moving, you know that you haven't hit bottom. So just say you cast out, right, and you just plump it out and the line keeps moving. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, boom, and the line stops. Tick your bail arm over, wind up the slack and point your rod at the water, right? Now, the next time you cast, if it's like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it keeps going, you know that you haven't hit bottom. So what you need to do is you need to put a heavier sinker on. And then, I mean, you know, when you're fishing at night, especially at jetties, you can change your sinker weight 8 times just to match the amount of current that's coming through. And what you've got to do is just try and use the right amount of weight that you can to keep your sinker in the one spot on the bottom, and then your baits will swing downstream in the current, okay? OTC, how are you, bud? Welcome, mate. Good to see everyone in here. Thanks to the 18 on YouTube and 32 on Twitch. I'm just going to change the colour of the soft plastic. Let's see what we've got here, eh? Okay. What we'll do is, let's go to the Old Faithful. There we go, lovely. I'll just take that out. Okay. Well, that's right, we'll change it to a heavier sinker. So what we're going to do now is, that's a 3-inch chartreuse coloured grub tail, as they call it. Right, so what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to rig this. Now remember, when you're rigging soft plastic, it's a game of millimetres, right? And you've always got to try and get plastic in the middle of it like that, okay? Now I didn't bring any super glue tonight, but that is not too bad. And I mean, you usually pick this up from experience, you know. I'll show you again. Alright, so that's not too bad, eh? That's a nicely presented soft plastic, because that's how it sits in the water and the tail swings around in the current, okay? Rightio, let's go and have a look, fam. Whoops. And look, I've had a lot of people send me messages and say, oh, why do you bother fishing at night with soft plastic, rudder? I'll tell you why. Because it's really difficult and I don't like fishing easy. I could go out and use baits and catch, you know, juvenile tailor, heaps of blowfish and all that sort of stuff, okay? But with soft plastics, it's just you and the wild fish, if you know what I mean. And what you've got to do is use a bit of skill and presentation to try and deceive a you know, wild creature into thinking that what you're using is real food. So now, okay, we're going to go to a 3/16 ounce jig head. This is a 1/16 ounce jig head, right? So, you know, it's just now the other thing is too, with using a slightly heavier jig head, it won't come up so high in the current. See how I'm tilting my rod to an angle? Oop, right? So I'm just tilting my rod to an angle, okay? So that I can make sure that the soft plastic doesn't pop out on the water, if you know where I'm coming from. Now, is that crabs in there? Did they just chew up my bait? My soft plastic, not my bait. There's a great big stinking blue manna behind this. Come on, bite it. They're a bit early in the river. I thought there'd still be too much fresh water. Let's have a couple more casts. Okay. Yeah, see how shallow it is? I've got to be really careful because I don't want to... We've got all these fish getting smashed on the surface, people, so might get out the Berkeley Nemesis in a minute. Now, was that a stick or a branch or what? Okay, let's have a look. For those that are new to the stream, welcome. This is Australis Fishing. Now the stream's free to watch, people, okay? We don't run any alerts, either sound alerts or anything like that, because we use the content for our YouTube channel. This is the first time we're multi-streaming for a while, so I've got 2 different phones that are doing both chats. I'm not using the one phone to do both chats, so I don't even know how they do that. Lovely. Right, let's check that out. All right, famo, we will try a different size jig head. Now, what I'm going to do is, I've been fishing 30-pound leader, okay, because early season in September, October, you usually get the big, strong fish that come into the river. And when they come into the river, if you hook one, I mean, your chances of landing them are pretty limited anyway because it's snag central through here, right? And unfortunately, with your leaders, right, it's like the old supply and demand graph from economics. So if you've got the strength of the leader going up like that, right, so the further you go along the graph, the stronger the leader is, your actually bites come in the opposite direction. So the stronger the leader that you use, you've got less bites that you get on it. You've just got to find that sweet spot in the middle where they cross over, right? So I think 30-pound is a bit too heavy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to some 20-pound fluorocarbon, right? And we're just going to see how we go with a bit of 20-pound fluorocarbon, okay? All right. Let's just have one more cast. And then, excuse me, we'll put a black 3/16 ounce jig head on, right? And we'll take it from there. Would be nice to hook a fish though, and start off the season, if you know what I mean. But like I said to you, what's the time now? What are you doing? Oh, it's 10 to 9. Nah, I don't think we'll get any. Oh, there's a hit. So that might have been a little tailor, people. Now there's fish starting to leap out of the water there, so that usually means there's a larger fish that's underneath them, you know. So what we'll do is we're going to match the colour of the bait fish in a minute. Let me just send another one out here. Great. Right, and then what we'll do is we'll go to the smelt colour in the Berkeley Gulp Nemesis. Okay. I think the first strike that I'm going to get on the lures this year, I'm just going to lose it anyway because I'll be in that much shock that we actually had something hit it, you know. Well, there's a little bump. All right, so we've had 2 hits in close. I think they're just small tailor, fam. We want the fish that eat the tailor to start hitting our lures, you know. All right. Excellent. Eidos, how are you, bud? Depends on which sport you're referring to, bud. So, I mean, there's lots of different sports out there, mate. Okay, good. Rightio, one more cast and then we'll change over to the Nemesis. Tell you what, people, as soon as I went to the Saragossa fishing reels, okay, I've got the 2,500, no, it's 2,500 and 3,000, what is it? I can't remember. Yeah, I solved all my problems with line twist. Fantastic little reels, people. We've caught some good fish on these. And when we head out in the ocean in the kayak, which isn't too far away, once I get this chondritis sorted out, or whatever it flipping is, sounds like the Perth Glory goalkeeper, you know what I mean? Right, and then what we'll do is we'll just start going out from there. Now, I've just had a couple of little hits on this chartreuse 3-inch grub tail, so I don't know what that's from. Let's try that, eh? Whammo, good work. Rightio. That was a bit of a hit, famo. As I was sort of reeling back, it right, hello. Well, that's interesting, fam. So what happened with that is that got pushed down, which means something hit it. But that's all right, we'll just try again, eh? That's all we can do. This is the good thing about you know, fishing and that sort of stuff, fam. It's you and the river. You know what I mean? You've just got to figure out the code as to what you're going to use that'll make fish, you know, take your bait or lure or fly or whatever. And I mean, you sort of build that up over years, you know, with your knowledge and that sort of stuff, famo, if you know what I mean. So you've got to just try and, you've just got to try and work it out. And you would like to think the longer you go on, the more you learn, but you know, it's just got to make mistakes to learn, famo. It's one of the essentials for your learning curve, if you know what I mean. And I've made lots of them. Oh, I've made some dumb mistakes, you know, made a lot of dumb was and all that sort of stuff. Right. All right, so this is our last cast with the 1/16 ounce jig head. Then what we're going to do is we're going to drop our strength of the leader. There you go, little fish leapt out the water there. That's a mullet, fam. Right, we'll drop our leader strength by 1/3. So we'll go from 30 pound to 20 pound fluorocarbon. And then what we'll do is we'll increase the weight of the jig head, so we can cast a little bit further out into the river, right, and away we go. So there's lots and lots of mullet being sorted out here, so yeah, no worries, Mystic Mayhem, thanks for coming in and watching the stream, bud, greatly appreciated, mate. So good to see you again, and hope everything's well. Hopefully those tips that we spoke about work, Mystic Mayhem, if you know what I mean. Okay, just give me a second, fam, and we'll work from here. Right, so where's our leader? one bit of advice is always try and keep your fishing tackle organised, especially with your lures and that sort of stuff. You've got to get what they call worm-proof tackle boxes, and with those worm-proof tackle boxes, right, what you've got to try and do is you've got to try and group your lures into similar colours. So these red and blue Marin patterns and the other multi-Marin patterns work really well in your freshwater, and these are some 3-inch paddle tails that I've got that work really well too. Now, that is exactly the jig head that I'm after. So that's basically what we're going to do now. We're going to use a bigger jig head, okay? And then hopefully that will get us to cast further into deeper water, and we'll have more chance of catching larger fish. All right, so let's just turn that down there. Rightio, right, here we go, here we go, here we go. All right, Femo. How the hell did that get in there? No. Out of there, away. What? So, somehow, my hook has got caught under my braid. I can't even open that up to get it out. Come on, bud. What are you doing, mate? That's life by a high grade. These things happen at night, mate. You've just got to figure it out, bud, don't you? You know, so what I'm going to do is I'm probably going to cut some of that braid off anyway, mate, because if I've got the hook that's on it, so see that there? I don't know whether you can see that, see how that's frayed the braid. Right, what I'm going to do is, rather than risk it, I'm just going to cut that now, and we'll peel that off the reel. Okay, because this is when you hook the fish of a lifetime, fam. Right, and these are the times that come back and haunt you. Oh, I've had plenty of them. So that's how it goes, mate. All right, now what I'll do is I'll just chuck that there. Okay, so let me just pull that through now. Oh, for God's sake, really? Come on, mate, stop busting my chops. Right, so what I'm going to do is, oh, there it is. Luckily, that's fairly close up on the reel. Great. So what I did there, Famo, I don't know whether you saw that, where the hook had caught into the braid, right, what happened was it had actually split the braid fibre. So what I did was I just cut it on the reel, and now I know exactly where it finished, so that's good. And what that'll do now is we don't have to worry about anything, because the last thing you want to do is keep the braid on there then cast out, because if you hook a fish, all that's going to happen is when you set the hook, it's just going to snap on the braid where you put the hook through it. Okay, so just give me a second, let me just sort this out. Now, those mullet are getting belted on the surface quite consistently now, people. So, quite looking forward to this. Right. Yeah, the other thing is too, people, I've got to sort of make time to go fishing now because I'm so busy with work. Last Friday, what's not a braid, Andrew? Ah, that's not good. What have we got here? What's happened here? So which is the what happened there? Come on, bud. So how come that's bedded in on itself? That's weird. What on earth is going on here? Let's have a look. Okay. This is really strange, fam. I have no idea what's happening here. There we go. Come on, bud. Yeah, you need to let go of that, mate. Come on. So how far down did this snap? All right. I'm not going to leave this braid in near the water because it'll kill things. How are you, Aussie? What's going on, bud? No such thing as a simple Aussie, mate. We're all Australians here. Hey, Final, how are you, bud? No, not yet, mate. I haven't even got a line in the water, bud. I think I'll put a new swivel on as well. All right, let's have a look. What's WSP an abbreviation of, bud? Welcome to the stream, Final. How are you, bud? Just got a boat. What size boat did you get, Aussie? Final, we have Western Australian black brim. We have mulloway. We also have river whalers, which are a bit nasty and they tend to ruin your weekend at once. And then, Final, are you in the States or are you in Australia, bud? Whereabouts, mate? Because then that way I can explain things. Bayrisha Rebel, how are you, mate? How many coffees today, Bayrisha Rebel? Hey, we'll be opening up the new Discord in a little while, Bayrisha Rebel, so don't panic about that, bud. All right, the water's starting to come in. One really good sign this year is the amount of... Oh, you're from New York. You're from the east side. The east side. Why do you guys always bang on about the east side and the west side gangsters, mate? I don't get that. You know? "13 cups, Bayrisha Rebel. Good to see you cutting back, mate. Well done. Good man. That's what we like to see. He's limiting his intake. Oh! What was that big silver flash then? Must have been a mullet, I think, coming in under the light. Anyway, we'll figure it out. Okay, so our tailor final are the same as your bluefish, bud. But here we call them greenbacks because they're in the river. That's usually what they do in this spawning. All right, a 14.5-foot de Havilland. Okay, that's an old boat, mate, isn't it? What year's the hull? Oh, really, final? Hey, just a simple Aussie. If you bought an outboard that's 10 years old, bud, right? If you bought an outboard that's 10 years old, okay, and don't take this the wrong way, I doubt it'd only have 72 hours, bud. So that means in 10 years it's been used for 7 hours a year. What'd you pay for the hull, mate? So with that final, is it ever going to get better, mate, or is it just going to get worse? $700-800. Wow, they've gone up, haven't they? Now, people, did you just hear that splash behind me? Something just got... I don't know whether you heard that, fam, but something just got chewed on the surface back there, okay? So let me just get the leader. Just going to put that braid in my basket. Hey, Andrew, let's not talk about politics, please. All right, mate. We'll leave that out of the chat, thanks. Lures. Final. Lures. Hey, Ballard. How are you, mate? Welcome to the stream, bud. What's going on, mate? You been well? Yeah, you know us, mate. We fish for fish. It's just so nice to get out. This is my going out for me, people. This is my Friday night at the pub. Yeah, that's good, final. Oh, nice one, Bella. That's the way, mate. Dun, 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 dun. Beautiful. Hey Gaz, how are you, bud? Oh, you got the night patrol for security, Gaz. Be careful, mate. Keep an eye on things, mate. Make sure you stay safe. Aussie, I've been using the same knot for 35 years. No, probably 30 years, I think. Sorry for the misinformation. And it's a really simple knot, mate, but it's the only knot that I've ever used that's actually got a genuine 100% breaking strain for braid to monofilament. But what I'll do is I'll show you another time, basically because I'm fishing with soft plastics. I'm tying my braid to the absolute smallest, what is wrong with everything tonight? Really? Smallest swivel I've got. Well, Well, at least you were catching the lure that you were fishing with, Final, until you lost it. It's one way to look at it. Right. And what I do here, Aussie, is I use a loop knot. Nice one, Ballard. Now, are you in the UK from memory? See, here in Australia, we don't refer to it as sea fishing. We refer to it as either beach fishing or rock fishing. We know that it's like saltwater, if you know what I mean. That is an absolutely terrible loop knot, but I want this to have a bit better action in the water. Yeah, that's all right, mate. So where are you fishing, the Cornwall coast or? Just excuse me for a second, I've just got to get my Berkeley Nemesis. Well, mate, you're catching more than I'm catching, Final. I'm just catching snags, I think. Rightio. Let's have a look. Alrighty. Lovely. Oh, stink. Weymouth, okay. Yeah, one of the members of our community fishes Cornwall. Good old 2 pints. So what I've got here is, this is the Berkeley Nemesis smelt pattern, or Gulp Nemesis smelt pattern. So it's like fishing with a bait, people, you know. This is too big a loop, but I want this to have a fairly good action in the water, if you know what I mean. So let me just get this in here. Beautiful, or beautiful, as they say. All right, that's not too bad. So we've changed to a 3/16 ounce head, okay? Devon, that's meant to be a lovely part of the world, isn't it, Cobb? Oh, bit of bass and pollocks, mate, yeah? Unlike pillock, which means something different in the UK, you know? All right, so see how the water's crept up a couple of feet? We've got to go another couple of feet before we start getting bites, I think. All right, go and do your thing, son. Now, all we did was went from a 1/16 ounce jig head to a 3/16 ounce jig head, and we got so much more airtime on that cast. Beautiful. And now what I've got is I've got a heavier soft plastic, right, so it's not coming up in the water column as much, because a couple of times there when I fished with that, the 1/16 ounce jig head and soft plastic was just under the surface. We don't want that, you know. Okay, now what's that? The other thing is too, hey, hello, what was that, you little bugger? Let's have a look. Interesting. No, I don't. Final, I'm quite happy to stay here in Australia, mate. At my age, I don't really have any inkling to go and travel, mate. I've got everything I need here, bud. So, and after COVID and all that sort of stuff, man, you know, not interested, mate. You don't know what's going to happen. Next, we'll be getting a flu and our head explodes, you know. A few mozzies around. I should have bloody brought the mozzie killer. There's a bump. Come on, bud. Yep, the mozzies are strong in this one. A lot of bait fish getting pushed up to the surface, Femo. So hey Dembski Gaming, how are you, bud? Nice one, Dembski. Did you put out one of the bony brim for Mulloway, bud, or what? You got flathead under the narrows now. Must have a lot of salt water pushing up in there, bud. Well, if the bony herring are under the narrows, the Mulloway will be in the bigger parts of the river. I might have to come up to Perth next week and try and stick a hook in one. Thanks for giving me that info, Dembski. That's a really good sign that it's going to be a good year, bud. Now people, if you want to increase the distance that you're casting, right, now that I'm going to try and do this live on stream, it's probably going to fail. But if you want to increase, oh, hang on a second. What was that? Okay. Big, big, big surface hits over there. Rightio. Just had a little silver flash in the water there. If you want to increase how far you cast with whatever lure or soft plastic or whatever you're using, right, it's as simple as increasing your rod tip speed, okay, or in-turn lure speed, right? So basically the easiest way to do that is do a back cast and a forward cast in a nice smooth motion like that, okay? See how much more air time we got, and that's purely because I was increasing the speed of the lure through the air with the back cast, felt the resistance, boom, and away we go. Rightio. And if you want a bit of advice on fishing soft plastic early season in any river anywhere in the world, use something with a bit of Lumo in it, okay? So the Z-Man motor oil is a really good colour. Oh, hello, come on. Right, that felt like a little tailor or something that hit the gulp then. Well, there you go, people. Now, let's just try this technique again. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to try something different. I want to give the fish time to have a look at this soft plastic. Lovely. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave that for a minute and let it do its own thing. Okay. So, just going to leave it, see what happens. The flatty latched onto some chicken. Okay, mate. Well, that's interesting. And look, mate, if it works, do it. Now, did everybody see that line straighten then? It's not meant to be lifting out of the water like that, so hopefully something's hit it. Yeah, thanks, Final. Not many people can pick that up, mate, you know. They tend to say it takes 10,000 hours to master something, so I've been fishing for over 50 years, bud. So when I first started fishing back in the early 70s, I used a hand line, caught a lot of fish, but there were a lot more fish around then. And then obviously from there, you know, I went from hand line to, I I actually fished with a cane pole when I was younger. I was sort of the tail end of that. Then they invented the hot. Oh, that was a bite, Famo. Right, wasn't a big fish, but if there's bait fish there, there'll be bigger fish after, you know. And yeah, you know, I remember the IM6 graphite, the IM7 graphite, then they went to IM8, you know, then they brought in high modulus, and the game changed, fam. Surely did it, what? I've got a couple of little fish. Come on, mate. Okay. Now, let's go again. That's exactly right, Final. Any reports of big mulloway in the Swan River yet, Dembski? What a beautiful night on the river, fam. I don't know why people bother going to pubs and that sort of stuff. You know, never ever drink and drive, but if you want to go fishing down at the river with friends or family, take a couple of drinks down and just chill out. Don't leave any rubbish behind, if you know what I mean. You know, you don't want to pollute your waterways that you're fishing and all that sort of stuff. Now, why is that getting taken with the current? I don't need to use... No, that's the line, it's not the jig head. Yeah, that's the best way to do it, Final. You've always got to improve your skill set and your knowledge, bud. Right. Hey, Dembski, let me give you the tip, bud. If they are catching big mulloway, right, or mulloway, they wouldn't be telling anyone, mate, because news travels fast, you know. So, and with that sort of thing, a lot of the mulloway this time of year will hole up in the deeper water. So, okay, that's different. I'm just going to change angle on a cast here for a second, Famo. All right, so we've got a little bit of weed out in the river there, which is good. That's actually the right cast there. Nice one. Well, Dembski, a lot of the old boys use the burley to bring the fish to them. If you go to the YouTube channel, bud, we've got a little segment on there on how to make your own burley, right? And it works out as cheap as chips, mate. I made over, was it 25, I think, or 26 bags of burley, about 500 grams each, and it cost me less than, I don't know, 15 or 16 bucks with the chicken pellets And the burley oil, I've got to do another batch up when I get a deep freezer. Beautiful. A lot more airtime with that little back cast. Oh, really, YouTube? Why would I want to bother with a love heart on my screen when I can't read my chat, YouTube? Who the hell organised this? A parrotfish. When you say parrotfish, mate, do you mean wrasse and that sort of stuff, bud? Because we get lots of wrasse here. Some people call them parrotfish. Pilchard or... Yeah, okay, mate. Well, that's pretty good. The good thing about that is, bud, with the burley that you make out of the chicken pellets, the reason why burley works is there's a lot of fish that can't digest carbohydrate. They can only digest protein. So basically protein's meat, whether it's crustacean, cephalopod, or, you know, fish, if you know what I mean. So buff bream can digest carbohydrate because they'll eat weed and all that sort of stuff, but they're not really a nice eating fish. They'll hit muleys every once in a while. And then, why did that go brighter then? Hang on a second. That's not meant to do that. Hang on, people. That went brighter. Hopefully there's not a snake mucking around with the light, you know. That's better. Oh, yeah. Yeah. They're not, yeah, they're not blue bone. What he's referring to, I think, Andrew. It's something else. I think in the States they get a parrotfish. We've caught a lot of different fish. If you go to, if you're on the YouTube channel Final, you'll see some of the fish that we've caught, bud. Yeah, that's how basically your burley works, mate. So for example, if you've got bream, trevally, tailor and all that sort of stuff, and they start eating the burley because of the fish oil in it, because they can't digest it, they excrete and they go into a feeding frenzy. That's why it works so well for herring, mate, you know. And then what they'll do is they'll just empty their system out. They start getting hungry, and you know, I've seen them hit bare hooks before with the old burley, so. Why isn't that fishing vertically? too shy or what? Let me just see if I can. Yeah, it's not very deep out there yet. Yeah, these mozzies are going to eat me alive, I think. Hey Prowler, how are you? Palm, what's going on, bud? Have no idea what the temperature is, bud. So, it's quite comfortable actually, so probably mid to high, sort of like 17, 18 degrees maybe, don't know, might be a bit lower, but anyway. That's the thing, people, when you go fishing. G'day, mate, how you going? Oh, you got your dog with you? What breed? Beg your pardon?
I said, see ya. Have a good night.
Oh yeah, and you, mate, bye-bye. Yeah, I do a bit of freshwater fishing as well, Final. Still waiting for the rivers to like clear up down south. We've had a bit of rain down there, so they're a bit murky, but in the next week or two it should be prime time. Your ideal window where I am in Western Australia, in the freshwater fishing region, sort of south of Bunbury and that sort of stuff, is usually the first or second week of October to the middle of November, and then we get into our summer winter, so that summer like water flows, and then if you know where to look, you'll still find fish though. So fortunately, coming down from that area, I sort of know quite a bit of the southwest quite well. And what happened there? Was that a hit? I know that quite a bit of the southwest quite well, so usually the best time to go fishing is about a week before Christmas, believe it or not. I don't think I'll get that luxury this year, so. One year I went fishing down at this spot that I know on the Warren River, and I found a dead possum. So I threw it in the water. We came back a week later and caught over 60 fish in the morning. Alright, so someone's riding past on a bicycle. Yeah, I don't fish for carp, mate. Carp are considered feral in Western Australia. Actually, I take that back. I do fish for them, but if I catch one, I'll cut its throat and leave it on the bank because you're not allowed to return them to the waterways. The upper reaches of the Collie River are infested with carp now. There's rumour has it there's a couple of ex-coarse fishermen that wanted to make, you know, fishing in the southwest like merry old England, and they've been letting carp go in our waterways. They better hope that the locals don't catch them, because if they do, I think they'll be making mincemeat out of them, fam, you know. Yeah. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, they're considered a pest here, mate. Even the redfin perch, you know. Like with the redfin perch, they're considered a bit noxious as well. So, unfortunately, a few of the animal rights groups have got involved and said, oh, you know, it's animal cruelty if you kill the fish. So, you know, redfin perch are like the foxes of the water. They eat absolutely everything that swims in there. If they can fit it in their mouth, they'll eat it. So if you go to a fishing spot, you don't hear frogs, you don't see fish splashing around and all that sort of stuff, you know that you might have a redfin perch in there or a dirty, great big stinking brown trout, you know. All right, this water's starting to come in, which is good. We might have to shift over in a minute, Famo. But that's okay, we'll figure that out. All right, I'm going to change the soft plastic in a minute. Let's have a few more casts. Yeah, well, I mean, they're not native to Australia by a higher grade. I mean, then again, you can say trout and redfin perch aren't either. But the first trout were brought to Tasmania in, I think, 1863. And then I think a few years after that, they got taken to the Gippsland hatchery in Victoria. And then after that, I think 18. Oh, I'm going back on the dates when I was at fisheries here, helping out as a volunteer fisheries officer. But what was it? I think 1863 they landed in Tasmania. 1872 or something, they got taken to Victoria, and then I think they got some trout from New Zealand and they took them to a hatchery in New South Wales in late 1870s, I think. And so they've been around for a very long time, you know. I mean, in the old days, when they were first introduced in Western Australia, in the early 1900s, they had a 50-year closed season on the trout so that they could, you know, build the numbers up. And in the old days, you had a closed season on redfin perch as well, people, believe it or not. You had to return them back to the water and all that sort of stuff, and then they realised how invasive they were. Now, we're having a bit of a sprinkler of rain. This wasn't forecast. This is absolutely perfect mulloway fishing weather, because what'll happen is the barometer drops. The theory is when the barometer drops, they have less pressure on their internal organs, so their stomach expands, so they'll get hungry. But I don't know whether they want to eat plastic, if you know what I mean. But we'll find out. I'm going to put the chartreuse tail on again, because this gulp nemesis is not doing anything. Yeah, matey, with the carp and that sort of stuff, bud, you know, the carp are one of the few fish that can feed vertically like that. And the biggest problem with that is... Hello, puppy, what are you doing, bud? Hey? What are you doing? Oh, hello, cheeky. Where's your owner? You going for a walk? Hey, what are you doing? You want to come down and say hello? Hello, beautiful. What are you doing? Come on. Oh, You're marking your territory. Hello, what are you doing? Where's your owner, buddy? Did you run off from home? Hey, come here. What are you doing, bud? Hey, come here, buddy. What are you doing? Come here. Come on, don't chew my fishing rod. I've got a young Rottweiler that's come up and having a look, so he's sort of... Oh, here he comes. G'day, beautiful. What are you doing, buddy? Come here. Don't chew my fishing rod. Naughty little bugger. Hey, what are you doing, pup? You're a beautiful boy, aren't you? Come here. Come on, you want a pat or not? Don't piss on my fishing bag. Are they final? Okay, mate. He looks like he's a bit of a Rottweiler cross, but that's okay. Let's just see. I think the owner's caught him, which is good. You got to be careful with dogs too when they run in the bush at night, because there's lots of snakes and that. Hang on, let me just see what we got here. There they are, the Nemesis. 3 inches is a really good size for river fishing, fam. Use either a size 1 hook or a size 1.0 hook. So, just going to take this off now. What I'm going to do, early season, a lot of your bloodworm colours work pretty well. Now we call them bloodworm, but originally they're one of the original like motor oil colours, okay? So just give me a second. And look, once again, thanks to everyone for giving up their time to watch the stream. Okay, greatly appreciated, fam. Actually, you know what? What I'm going to do, people, these are diesel minnows. Right, now these are 4-inch, which are called the opening night colour. These are a pretty good colour. I'm just going to see if I can whack one of these on, because if there is a big mulloway out there, what these buggers will do, these will get hit because they look very similar to the mullet that we've got in our waterway, okay? So, let's just see that, okay? And it's the same old story, okay? If you want quality fishing tackle, you buy American, fam. A lot of the manufacturing's gone out of Australia, so, you know, it's just refreshing to get good products. And I've still got to sort out my online store, so we'll get onto that this week at some stage. Only thing with these diesel defects, whatever they're called, is they're a bit soft. Now that is a really nicely presented bait, okay? Or soft plastic. So what I've done is I've got all the weight in the front like a fish. Let's see how it goes. Okay. This is a bit bigger bait than the one we've been using. Oh, that's going to work well. Now look, the other thing is too, people, when you use your baits and that sort of stuff, let me just show you something here, right? What I'll do is I'll shine this in the water and you can see for yourself. With your soft plastics and everything, right, you've got to try and balance everything, okay? So you've got to just try and make sure that everything sort of balances and... Oh, we don't know, final. It is pretty early though, mate. We've still got a lot of fresh water in this river. So now, just check this out, right? So what I'm going to do is, I'm just going to plonk this soft plastic right in front of you so you can see it here. Okay. So see that there? Now see how that's sitting vertically in the water? I don't know whether you can see that. Right, maybe we should do this, eh? I don't know whether you can see that sitting vertically in the water there, but that's how soft plastics work, famo. Right, so what'll happen is, when you move it, if you've got deep enough water like that, see how it looks like a natural fish just moving through the water, okay? And what you've got to try and do is just weight your soft plastic so it just looks like a fish grubbing along the bottom, see? Right? And as we go out into the deeper water, it'll look more natural, okay? So what I've done there, when it comes in, it'll just look like a little fish grubbing along the bottom and digging up dirt and all that sort of stuff, right? Just want to try and get it as natural in the presentation as possible, if you know where I'm coming from, okay? So let's just bring this back here now, like we did before. Oh, nice one, Mike. How are you, bud? Welcome to the stream. Excellent. Yeah, see, Spain's one part of the world you don't really hear much about the fishing, do you? We don't get sea bass here, Mike. Yeah, what I might do is let's just open this up a bit. Okay, so let's flip it. Okay, let's see how we go with that. And look, people, you know, sometimes it's as simple as just changing the size of your soft plastic. I mean, you know, when you're fishing out in a boat and that sort of stuff, and you're fishing for tuna, and that tuna are one of the few fish species that'll be quite specific in the size of, you know, like bait fish that they hit. So, for example, nice one, Dembski. And okay, can we see everything? That's better. And yeah, so obviously you've got to change the weight of your jig head. I was using a 1/16 ounce jig head, right? And we weren't really holding bottom that well with it. Then we changed to a 3/16 ounce jig head. I was quite surprised that the Gulp Nemesis in the smelt colour didn't work too well. So the other thing to do now is, right, we'll just go to a bigger soft plastic. We've got a nice 3/16 ounce jig head on here. Casts beautifully. That's right in the sweet spot there. I'm not going to catch it on that. I'm not going to catch it on anything, I don't think. But look, early season, a lot of times something with a bit of red goes quite well. They say that when the rivers flood the banks, or they're receding as well, the worms will pop out. So, you know, look, I don't know whether fish see colour or whatever, and half the time I think they just make all these different coloured lures to catch, like anglers, if you know where I'm coming from, right? But, you know, you just got to try these things, don't you? Look, if we've got a big mulloway out there too, that'll engulf that soft plastic pretty well straight away, you know, so that's what we're sort of fishing for. Mike, those sea bass that you catch in Spain, are they the same sea bass that they catch in the United Kingdom? Right, so that was a bump. Very small fish hit that then, but that was a bump. They don't seem to be going in too like shallow there, do they? Beautiful cast. Oh, here comes that rain. So, okay, nice one. Yeah, don't know, final. All we can do is do our best, mate. Nice one, Dembski. Did you get any photos, bud? Now, interestingly enough, with the water flow that we've got here in the moment, I cast out here, the soft plastic ended up here, so might just swap out to another 3-inch grub tail. That moves really well in the water, Famo. Okay. One thing you'll find too is that a lot of people will use white soft plastics in rivers, because normally what happens is a lot of your bait fish are very similar to the colour of the waterways they're in. So if you use a white soft plastic or a white lure, what it normally does is it changes automatically to the colour of most of the bait fish in that area. Right, so, you know, just little things like that, you know what I mean? Oh, there's a bump. I've got lots and lots of little fish that are just trying to bump this soft plastic tail. So, you know, just waiting for that one big one. We've got lots and lots of mullet in the area. We've got lots of bluefish in the area. I think I had a follow from a little mulloway, but I mean, mulloway are like that, fam. You'll fish for 3 hours, not even a sniff, and then boom, you'll have that 15-minute to half-hour window at the change of the tide, right? And then they're on like a bloody puppy chasing a tennis ball, and then they go off the bite again. Right. I'm not really getting too many accurate casts in here. Thank you very much to everyone that's watching on both platforms. I haven't done much streaming due to work commitments, but that'll change, so. Now that bait's moving in the water. I can tell by the direction of the line. So we might be having a little bit more flow. Might have to go to a 5/16 ounce, fam. That's going to be interesting. But I think 3/16 ounce is about my limit. Let's just wait and see, eh? Another little bite. Could have been a little tailor or something. I've got lots and lots of little flashes behind the soft plastic, so it's just little fish trying to get a light look in, if you know what I mean. So yeah. Let me just change this camera angle again, eh? Let's just see if this one's a bit better. Let's check out what this one does. Now I've got a question for everyone in chat. Who in chat is superstitious when they go fishing? Ed, how are you, bud? Yeah, mate, I'm a bit superstitious. Well, not like too bad, but I like to follow the same method, if you know what I mean. So, what happened there? Don't tell me that I snapped it. I've got a lucky fishing shirt that I call it. That's a great way to break a guide, Jim, and snap your line, you idiot. Every time I wear that shirt, I usually catch a fish. Now, why is the light doing that, Famo? It's going so bright. You know what I mean? When it's meant to be on the lowest level, so that I don't chew up the battery. Okay, opening night's a really good colour down here, fam, especially in the Swan River. So if you're going to go into a tackle store and they've got Z-Man soft plastics, right? Always look for the opening night colour. Is that a bird or a bat? I think that's a duck. A banana on a boat. Rodriguez, how are you, bud? That's a good way to do it too, mate. Well done. See, the other thing is too, pal, that's something that can affect your morale as well. And I mean, morale is one of those intangibles, mate. You can't really put a price on it, you know. And that's good because you're honouring your granddad as well, mate, you know. So, that's really good of you, mate. Well done, bud. Sounds like a motorbike. Let's see if there's one hanging out the back here. The only problem is, where I'm fishing here, I've got a little bit of a cove, so there's a little bit of a swell. I've had some quite close calls with mulloway and rivers. I've lost count of how many times I've had a big mulloway swim up behind my soft plastic or lure in a river, Famo. Certainly gets the blood going, you know. Now I'm going to try a different technique in a second. Yeah, okay, so I did that cast there to the left of where we're fishing just to see exactly how much water's coming in. And I think we've got a lot more water coming into the river now because that wasn't even really sitting on the bottom. Right, so now what I'm going to do is cast upstream of where I just cast. Yeah, that's really good of you, Rodriguez. That's what it's about too, bud, you know. Some people seem to forget that it's the small things like that that can make a lot of difference to people, you know. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to a motor oil colour that's more like a bloodworm colour. And motor oil is a really good colour to use in rivers in WA, fam, okay? It'll catch everything from mangrove jack to mulloway to brim. I've even seen whiting caught on motor oil soft plastics, you know? So... all right, let's bring that in here. Mike's, how are you, bud? Just a size 1 copper. What I've done is I put most of the weight in the front, like quarter, probably front fifth of the soft plastic, bud. So we've got a nice presentation in the water, mate. So let me see what we've got here. Yep, let's bring this back. Yeah, I don't like fishing with too big a hooks, mate. And look, the other thing is too, Mike's, if you've got a big enough fish out there, mate, it'll swallow the soft plastic whole anyway, you know, and it sort of gives less pressure on the, what is it, like smaller fish as well. Okay, what have we got here? Let's see. Yeah, let's have a look. Let's have a look. What have we got there? What have we got there? Sorry for the boarding back of the head, fam. All right, what we're going to do, two people, is we're just going to go to a white soft plastic, so just give me a second. Thank God we've got no predators like bears in Australia, fam. All right, so there's an old saying in light fishing. Yeah, that's it, Mikes, you know. We don't have too much of a biomass of fish over here in Western Australia compared to the East Coast, Mike, you know. Apparently a lot of countries are like that. Apparently, you know, like, I mean, the fishing on the east coast of the States is a bit different to the west coast of the States and that sort of stuff, you know. And it's the same old story, mate. Never ever get, you know, put off by not catching fish, because you got to practice for the time that they do turn up, you know. I've had plenty of streams when we weren't really achieving much, and then out of nowhere, boom, you know what I mean? There you go, people. That's a nice bait presentation, isn't it? That's pretty good, I think. Oh, that's the thing, Mikes, you know. That's better. Yes, all right, Femo, here we go. There's an old saying in saltwater fishing, when in doubt, use white. Saltwater flies, soft plastics, lures, whatever. Okay, so the wind's picked up. Weird. At least our hooks are coming in pretty clean, Famo, you know. Haha, very good, Tundra Cowboy. You're the first person that picked up on it. Still got that fishing rod that you helped me out with that time too, mate. So thank you very much, and really good to see you in the channel, bud. I think this is just evening drizzle. The mosquito ninja, sort of. Rodriguez 420, no, I've never fished in South Australia, mate. Got a long time member of the community that's in South Australia that we're trying to organise a big mulloway fishing session on the Great Australian Bight. But unfortunately my work commitments don't allow for that, bud. So, you know, I'd like to go there. But, you know, it's one of those things, isn't it? So I know that South Australia has a lot of good fishing, like the Glenelg River, for example. Okay, and do they still catch cod in South Australia, Rodriguez, or is the Murray River too polluted over there? Because that's the tail end of the Murray River, I think, isn't it? All right, let's try a different technique. What I'm going to do, fam, I'm going to cast this out, and as it hits the water, I'm going to retrieve it quickly, then let it drop. Sometimes that works. Well, something just got hit off the surface over there, so And look, people, if you're new to the stream, please subscribe for free on YouTube, okay? And if you're new to the stream on Twitch, please follow on Twitch, okay? Doesn't cost you anything to watch the stream, only costs you a click to follow, okay? On both platforms. And with that too, you know, we like to welcome new members to the community, righty? Nice cast there. That's a good distance. Where we're fishing in the river here, we got a bit of a channel, and it's a nice sandy bottom without too many snags. You don't really get too many fish here that often. They do catch a lot of river whalers here though, bud. So, you know, that's why you got to be careful. I won't swim in here. I've got a little ingrown toenail that I did a home operation on, so I'm not even putting my feet in the water, you know. Okay. Getting lots of hits from small fish, Famo. I don't know what they're doing. They probably don't know what they're doing. Okay, so. And this is the thing, when you're fishing lures at night in a river, it's a long, onerous procession. Okay. And, you know, you're sort of waiting for that fish of a lifetime. I think when you know, do fishing content, you've got to be really careful too. So if you go to spots during the middle of the day and catch something, the next day you'll have 5 people turn up, you know. So that's why I like to fish the tides later on in the evening, come down, turn the light on. We bumped into one person, which is unlikely, but where I'm fishing is a fairly popular walkthrough at night for people with dogs as well. And then what we'll probably do tomorrow night is we'll go across the river there, okay? And then we'll try again, because now I'm going to start doing the live streaming. And next week we'll be doing a fairly early stream, people. Just got to wait for this wind to die down in the morning. I'm quite keen to get out in the kayak and see if we can get some fish, you know. Okay, we've thrown everything tonight apart from the original motor oil colour. So let's just have a look at that. Hey Rambo, how are you, bud? No, it's been pretty quiet, Rambo. We're using soft plastics at night, mate, which is quite difficult. That's why I like doing it, bud. You know, I don't like doing the easy type of fishing, mate. I like doing the tough type of fishing. You know, all this does, I mean, this is effectively our second trip this season, so I'm just honing the skills again, you know. Okay. I'm going to give this 2 more casts, and then we're going to change to the other soft plastic. I'll show you the colour. So one thing we've done here is we've allowed for the increased water flow with the tide in the river. We've gone to a heavier jig head. We tried a larger soft plastic tail. We've tried a different profile, soft plastic tail. So we just got to keep going until we find out what works, Famo, you know. I've got a Lumo tail that I might put on. I haven't put the motor oil on yet, but I will do in a second. But like as I said, people, fishing at night with lures, always tough. But where you take the risk, you hopefully reap the reward, you know. Ooh. Righty, our last one with the white soft plastic. Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean by that, Rodriguez, but you know, snapper is a very susceptible fish to overfishing, bud. And I mean, you know, that's why so many content creators, you know, sort of like fish for them, if you know what I'm saying. Here in WA, it's probably one of the first fish you'll catch out in the boat and that sort of stuff. So it's just something you can't get away from, you know. But yeah, once you figure it out and all that sort of stuff, you know. But yeah, I usually fish, catch and release for snapper. So we've caught some nice fish out in the boat, you know. We got a 75 centimetre snapper from the shore one day, and we got another one that went 95, so that was all good fun. Right, so that's a snag, yeah? Now that's interesting, isn't it? That's weird. That's really weird, Famo. Hang on a second. Yeah, you got to be careful with the squid, mate. When you catch the squid, Mike, put them in a bucket with no water in there, right? Never ever point the squid at you, okay? And then Harvest, how are you, bud? Welcome to the stream, mate. Yeah, don't know, Andrew. Don't know, that was really weird. Don't know whether a crab grabbed it or whatever, so. Oh, really, mate? Just excuse me for a second, fam. I just got to check something. When you say a Sun Dolphin Journey 10, Rambo, that's a type of boat? Oh wow, it's 10:15 already. Interesting. Hey Mike, how are you, bud? Petri Hale, mate, how are you, matey? Welcome to the stream. What are you doing? Guten Tag, my friend, Guten Tag. Oh, it's a kayak 10-footer. Is that a two-seater or a single-seater, Rambo? 4:15, okay. Yeah, so you're 6 hours behind us. For those of you that are wondering what I'm drinking, it's the really hard stuff here. It's Schweppes natural mineral water, okay? Oh, nice one, Rambo. Yeah, kayaking's good fun, mate. Kayaking's always good fun, mate. Yeah, we've got a Next Gen 11 here from Kayaks to Fish. So they've got a Next Gen 12 now, which they use for the ocean, but I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know what's happening. I think I'll just stick with the 11 for now because I know it pretty well. And plus we figured out how to put the outriggers on the front, so when we put the outriggers on the front. Made a big difference. I didn't realise it was such a big deal, fam, you know. So, not too bad at all, thank you very much, Mike. So, yeah, I'm just fishing a local river here at night. I think the high tide's about 11:30, mate, so I use live streaming as a way just for, you know, relaxing, improve the mental health and all that sort of stuff, mate. You know what it's like. So, I see that you've got a Montana Black there. He's a very good streamer, mate. I don't understand what he's saying, obviously, but he obviously does a very good quality live stream. And he'd have to be one of Germany's, I think he's German, isn't he? He'd have to be one of Germany's biggest streamers, wouldn't he? So, all right, last cast with the white 3-inch soft plastic, and then we'll go to the 3-inch motor oil. Oh, nice one, Rambo. Okay. Yeah, well, that's pretty good, mate. That's, you know, that's good that you do that, mate. Yeah, because normally they just have outriggers on the back, but I thought, no, I can put outriggers on the front. Just makes it a hell of a lot more stable, and like when you go out in the ocean and that sort of stuff, it's always handy to have as much support as you can, mate, especially when you're a big bloke like me. All right, so we've got a wind lane down the middle of the river, fan. Where's all this rain coming from? You know? All right, let's go to the, oh dear. Oh, nearly lost an eye. Okay, so oh, that's all the braid that I took off the reel before when I got the hook caught in it. Yeah, I put it in the basket. Never ever leave braid at a fishing spot, people. You'll kill everything. Oh, yeah, that's the problem, mate. I had a not a kayaks to fish. Oh, I can't even remember the name of the kayak now, bud, but I had one from years ago that used to tip at the drop of a hat. And then Viking kayak, that's it. Yeah, it used to tip at the drop of a hat, mate. And then, you know, when I got the kayaks to fish kayak, it was just so much stable because it had a flatter bottom, if you know what I mean. All right, people. Is this one being used? All right. And, you know, that's how it goes, you know what I mean? So, all right, people, now, to most people, they would call that a bloodworm colour, but apparently it's one of the original motor oils. And early season last year, we got absolutely smoked on this particular colour a couple of times early on. And then it just seemed to go off the bite a bit, pardon the pun, after the early season. There we go, beautifully presented. Well, don't know yet, it's not in the water, but we'll see, eh? And then what we'll do is we'll try on the chartreuse, and then we'll call it a night. Hopefully we don't have to concede defeat, if you know what I mean. So, yeah. I think this would be a good colour in freshwater as well. Now that's interesting. That head is too heavy for that tail. It's not sitting vertically, it's laying down. Very interesting. So I'm going to have to fish that a bit quicker, I think. There are variations you can fish of your soft plastics as well, people. One variation I use in freshwater, actually I won't tell you, I'll show you. You know what this platform's like, people, with people pinching ideas, so. Nice one, Rambo, well done, bud. Yeah, you guys are spoilt in the States with the different fish you have available to catch. We've got nothing like that on the west side of Australia. On the east side, you've got Australian bass, you've got Murray cod. I think they've got variations of Murray cod like trout cod and other stuff. And then you've got silver perch, golden perch, you know what I mean? And all that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, we've got carp in the waterways, you know, so. I'm glad that I put on that heavier jig head as well, because with the wind that's blowing across us like right to left, if I had the lighter jig head, it'd just form a curve or an arc and head out here anyway. So at least this way we're managing to punch into it, you know. Can everybody just excuse me for a second? I just want to check something. I want to see if there's something that's happening in a little waterway here. So just give me a minute. I'll just be off the phone screen for a second, okay? Just want to check something. No, have you, Rambo? Hopefully I don't know why the government just doesn't say to kids, you know, 50 cents a carp and just get rid of them all, you know what I mean? Just give me a second, fam, I'll be straight back. Oops. Oops, 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 don't do that. I just knocked the light over like an idiot. Just give me a second, famo. Okay, let's have a look in here. Oh, and it's filling up. So we have got the tide coming in, but it's still a long way off yet. It'd be nice if you could actually find be nice if you could actually find an app that's got accurate tide charts, wouldn't it? If I had a net, I could get that. But anyway, just give me a second, fam. It's coming back now. Okay, so what we'll do now, famo, is, look, Ganjin, this is the thing, mate. The government misses out on a perfect opportunity for, like, you know, I mean, even on the holidays, just say, look, kids, we'll set up a station in each town or whatever from fisheries. And the thing is with that, with all the fish that they catch, it's just data for fisheries, isn't it? And let's face it, you've got to give something back to people, you know? I mean, 50 cents a carp, you know, you catch 20 carp, you got $10, they'll put that back into tackle to go out again. And then all they do is just sell it to the fertiliser companies, mate. Brilliant, everyone wins, you know. Okay, now let me just get this Bibulus minnow out again. We'll see if there's anything out there. Andrew, should be, mate, but I don't think we're going to be around for the change of tide. Yeah, that's right, Rambo. See? And you've got the government promoting a community involvement, mate. You know? And they should just make it tax-free. Don't know where this rain's coming from, fam. We might have to end stream in a minute. But this is like really good mulloway weather. If I was in Perth, I'd be really happy with this. This is what you dream of. You dream of like a little bit of rain, lower pressure, you know what I mean? A lot of the old time mulloway anglers used to wish for that. Got to be careful, that's all. Oh yeah, they make great fertiliser, mate. In Australia, we've got a company that makes fertiliser out of carp. It's called Charlie Carp, and I think they get them out of the Murray. You know, so. Well, fam, I think we're going to have to call it a night with the stream because this rain's come up that wasn't forecast, and I'm not really worried about me. I'm just worried about my equipment. So let me just bring this in. We'll just bring this in a bit quicker. Right. Oh, let's have one more. Why not? I just hope it doesn't end the stream. Which map is that, Rodriguez? What are you referring to, bud? Or is that in a different chat, bud? Oh, I think we're going to have to concede tonight, famo. The river's beaten us again, but that's only this time. It won't be next time, you know. Yeah, this rain is increasing. I need to protect all the electrical equipment. The last thing I need is all the batteries to get wet, so. Okay, all right, famo. Well, look, I'm going to have to call it an early night. Apologies for that. I normally like to fish through, you know what I'm like. Oh, yep, everything's wet now. Great. All right, so stay safe and stay well. Be the best person you can be every day. Keep being awesome. Please follow on Twitch and subscribe for free on YouTube, okay? And I look forward to seeing you in the next stream. And don't forget to turn your notifications on. Bye for now. Thanks, Rambo. Have a good night, everyone. Andrew, thank you for being in chat. Final, you as well. Mike and everyone else. All right, everyone. See ya. Oh, YouTube, how am I meant to turn this off, you idiots? God. Figure it out, bud.